The US dollar.
The US dollar.
The US dollar.
I'm Scott Miller, and this is Defending the Dollar. Over 2,500 years ago, in what is now Turkey, the Lydian Empire made one of the biggest financial innovations in history. It created the world's first metal coin, which became the world's first government-issued currency. We've come a long way since then. Today, there are about 150 government-backed currencies in circulation. Which of these currencies we use isn't a decision many of us think about. We generally use the currency issued by the country where we live. What if two traders are in different countries with different currencies? They would need to settle their transaction using currency acceptable to both parties. In other words, this international transaction would need an international currency. So what is an international currency? It's a currency held beyond the borders of the issuing country and used for transactions between non-residents. The US dollar is an international currency. Non-Americans use it to settle cross-border trades. International currencies are used for many purposes. They can serve as a unit of account. Foreign central banks use them to peg the value of their own currency. The Cuban peso is pegged to the dollar at a fixed exchange rate of roughly 24-1. International currencies can also serve as a store of value for governments, firms, and individuals who may use them to store their wealth. Reserve currencies are a common example of this. Those are foreign currencies held in a country's central bank, both as a store of value and to adjust the exchange rate of their own currency. Today, there are about 150 government-backed currencies, yet only a handful of these are truly international currencies, such as the dollar, the euro, and the Japanese yen. What is it that makes these currencies better travelers than others? Well, there are three key factors that drive a currency's international usage. First and foremost is the size of the issuing country's economy and its international trade flows. Countries with a large volume of international transactions naturally issue more useful currencies, as they can be used to buy a wide range of goods and services from that country. In essence, US dollars are valuable because traders can use them to buy so many different products. These products include financial assets as well, such as stocks and bonds. Globally, there is a huge demand for financial assets, which are typically used to store wealth. Investors want a safe place to park their money and earn a return. So international currencies tend to come from countries with large markets that can handle the demand. Second is the development and openness of the issuing country's market. While market size is important, it's just one factor. How a nation's financial markets are regulated is also critical. A country with efficient financial institutions and laws that reduce barriers to trading likely has a currency that saves investors time and money. The Swiss franc travels well, despite the nation's small size. That's due to the country's well-developed financial sector, solid legal framework, and political stability and neutrality. Market openness, or the ease of access for both citizens and non-citizens, is also important. That increases the range of transactions the currency can be used for. And finally, the third factor is price stability. Remember, a currency is a tool to move economic value across space and time. Its utility relies upon it being a stable store of value. Just think about it. Would you accept something for payment if you had no idea what it was going to be worth tomorrow? Well, governments and traders feel the same way. A currency's price stability is determined by many factors, like domestic inflation and the currency's supply and demand. Others relate to confidence in the country's economy. If a country's institutions lack transparency and credibility, that deters investors who seek a predictable business environment. And as we noted in the Swiss example, political stability plays a role. These are the three main factors that help international currencies travel: economic strength, market openness, and price stability. Subscribe to CSIS and stay tuned for our next episode.